Welcome to Greenable Woodbridge. I am your host, Carolyn Ehrlich. I know today's show is a first. We have a mother-daughter combo. And Sue Bourdin, who is the mom, is the vice president of the Board of Education. And Emily, who is her daughter, is, I think, the town's leading advocate in no litter, anytime, anywhere. And do you want to tell the story of when we first met, or do you want me to tell it?
I can tell it.
Good, go for it.
I was doing a passion project for 4th grade, and I brought this up to my mom about littering. So my mom said, how about we talk about this with Carol? And we did, and then I feel like my project was like a huge success.
Great. And what did you do? You brought a poster that was phenomenal to the conference room.
I still have it.
You still have it.
Not in great shape, but it means a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great project. I remember coming in and visiting you, and you gave us 10 things that she could look into. One being the rain collection. And we went around to different sites around the town and saw all of the different things. It was how to be an Earth Day superhero. So, so you had given us some great ideas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember any of the other ideas?
I remember, how to, be, a Earth Day superhero, like cleaning up after yourself, picking up the litter. I remember wearing a T-shirt that was, stop littering or something like that.
I think I remember that T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. I remember walking downtown with you and Emily pointing out all the,
Yeah.
you and Emily actually pointing out all the litter on the ground, saying, this is terrible.
Yeah, the way that, people just leave their garbage, and it just makes it, look bad,
It's a very bad reflection on our beautiful town.
Right.
When you go into a town, whether you're walking on the sidewalks, driving down the street, in the parks, and you see litter, it doesn't look as beautiful as it possibly could.
Yeah.
We're lucky that the people who work at Public Works that are in charge of the parks keep on top of it as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
But they need help.
Right. It's not just their job to clean everything up. It's, people can't just leave the stuff there because, it's somebody else's job. That's not right, People deserve to, have somebody else,
Yeah.
Clean up after themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have garbage pails all over outside.
Yeah.
What do you think are the most common forms of litter that you see?
I see soda cans, chip bags. I usually see a lot of plastic water bottles.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And then I usually see cigarettes, on the streets, That's what I usually see.
That is the worst
Yeah.
form of litter.
Yes. It also stinks.
So TerraCycle has a program where you can get the bins for the cigarettes and you put it outside businesses, and after you drop in, save all the butts, seriously, save the butts, and then they make things out of it, like benches or whatever, I don't know, but you send them down to TerraCycle and they recycle them. So it's really cool. I'm trying to get businesses to come on board voluntarily, because you know me, I don't like to pass ordinances.
Right.
But certainly where, like in front of a 7-Eleven,
Right.
they buy the cigarette and they can't go more than 2 feet before they light up the cigarette and then throw it on the ground. And that cigarettes, they go into the landfill and never ever leave.
Right.
They're just they're you talk about forever things, that's a forever thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and it gets into the ocean, and it just doesn't look good.
That's an important part about what happens to this litter if nobody picks it up.
It's just left there. It's not natural. It's, it's made by people. It's not natural, it's not a natural project.
That's why it's called litter.
It's not a natural product to, just throw out,
and it'll stay that way.
Yeah.
Unless it's put in the right place.
Exactly.
So when you say we see all the plastic bottles, it probably isn't too far that you have to go to find a recycling can.
Yeah, it's like probably like it's just 1, inch away from you. There's a garbage right there. Go throw it out.
Right. And at its worst, probably at its worst, all of this litter, if it's not picked up by somebody, will go right into the water streams, which is very bad.
It is. And you won't be able to swim in it.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't want to swim up next to garbage.
No. So they have a lot of cleanups down the shore. A lot of volunteering goes on down there. And we're trying to build, we do have volunteers. We do have people like you who are passionate about cleaning up wherever they go, whatever they do. Can you think of other ways that we can encourage our residents to maybe volunteer to do things?
Yeah, I can think of maybe like a community service for schools, like, not just like recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle, because, I think, everybody, knows about that stuff. Mm-hmm. There should be like other interesting things to inspire people to clean up the litter, not just, the things that they heard for like so many years about litter, but actually like considering that, there's litter everywhere and just, kind of helping as a community, not just,
So the state actually has a law that says every town is supposed to have 2 town-wide cleanups a year. So we already do one with National Public Lands Day. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's the last Saturday in September, and people are cleaning up the parks all over the country. And we do a lot. At first, when it first started, it was a massive cleanup because our parks weren't anywhere near as they are now. But we do it at Shaughnessy Park, we do it in Avenel, and we have small family groups that pick different parks throughout the town and clean them up. So that's one event. How can we organize a second town-wide event?
What's a second town event?
So something like Public Lands Day, where, I don't know, maybe a contest?
Yeah. Oh, maybe like seeing how much litter you can find or take.
A litter scavenger hunt?
Yeah, litter. Yeah, like, that would be perfect. I think like seeing how much litter you have, or like comparing it to others, and people can get like a prize or something like that. Kind of like a challenge. Like a challenge is something that people. That's what drives people to do something. It's always a challenge.
I think you nailed it here.
Yeah, that is true.
That's really good. Now, do you think that should be for all age groups, or school-age kids, or different categories?
Honestly, it should be for everybody, because, I don't see a problem with people who, are just like little. I mean, I think it would be fun, but the only thing that I'm gonna say is they just to be careful. With like glass, people can step on it, people can get hurt. That's another problem about littering, but there should be different things that they should collect as an age. Like kids collect like plastic water bottles, and grown-ups collect glass, safety.
That's good. And one of the things, I don't know if it's it's a state, it's not the community cleanup group, but the state also wants you, now this is the part that I'm saying, are you kidding? But it actually is what they want, is if you're doing this event, the scavenger trash hunt,
right,
they want you to write down everything that you pick up and keep a record of that.
Oh wow, that'd be history.
Yeah, it would be history.
So I mean, to make it easy, you can have a category, plastic bottles, and then just make a line
how
every
many
time.
you collected. I think that's a good thing, because you can look back and kind of see what you collected. Like, oh my gosh, I just collected like 100 like plastic water bottles. That's a lot. Like, I didn't expect it to be that much. You can like look back and see like how much you collected.
So they're on the right track.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll follow that law. In a couple of the schools, we actually did waste audits.
Ooh.
And we looked at, we did it in Colonia Middle School. After school, the kids gathered up, emptied all the garbage pails onto a tarp, and then we separated everything and weighed it and saw like how much of the plastic bottles were in the regular garbage. So that's not about litter, but it's about understanding what the waste is. So
how much of the waste is.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking before we went on air about one area where you think can get students involved in litter.
Right.
And share that with us.
I think mostly like schools when we eat lunch, people leave their food, like they don't throw them out when there's like garbage cans around. I just see like, just like piles of food on the table and people leave. And I understand that they think that it's a janitor's job, but the janitor's job is something different. They sweep the floors. They don't always always pick up like garbage from the tables. That's not really their job.
No, they're not servers.
Yeah, they're not. Is it okay if I say like what I've experienced?
Sure.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
So I remember going to McDonald's and these kids just left with their garbage at the table. And one of the managers or the janitors, she's like, "Are you really gonna like leave this for me to clean up? Like, you guys are like so rude. I don't blame the janitor to actually speak up. Like,
right.
That's good that she's speaking up, but it's just wrong to leave your food, just lying around."
That's definitely for sure. Now, don't the schools have a program where you're supposed to put your food waste and separate it?
No.
No?
Nope.
Well, I got to talk to them. Okay, so we're going to go to the school board now. There is supposed to be a program. You have the things outside, and all the food waste is supposed to go into those outside containers.
I believe those are in some elementary schools. I know.
And the high schools for sure.
I have not seen that, so
Okay.
I would like to
take a trip out and take
I
a
would
look
love
at
to do that because
Yeah.
I am, I was at School 18 one morning and I saw the program in full force with Miss Amiato, and she did an amazing job of training the students to take their food waste, which isn't really waste at all, and put it on tables. It's a shared
Sharing
table.
tables are beautiful.
It is, and I think that those are ideas that could be and should be carried throughout the township. That way, if you want an extra apple, you can have an extra apple. And there's nothing wrong with somebody not wanting it. Don't throw it away.
Right.
I have aides in the schools that I know that hear clunk every 5 minutes, clunk, an apple going in. So I think that she's on the right track, and I know that you've worked with her to expand that program.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that program expanded into all of the schools that we have, because I really hate to think of the food being wasted.
Yeah. Hopefully you have the power to help make that happen.
Well, I would, in conjunction with you, Carol, I think that you and I,
we'll see what we can do.
you and I could, make some waves here. Make the room here.
Well, that a lot of these changes come by waves, making things happen and people talking about it. People have their habits.
Sure.
And some people are just lazy. And
True, as Emily pointed out.
The bell rang.
Yeah.
And I got to get to my next class.
Right.
And
I always throw out my food either way. If I see like I have garbage, I have to throw it out. Sometimes I have to get up and go throw out my garbage early.
Sometimes it makes her way back into the lunchbox and back home, but at least it's not left on the table.
No.
And one thing that I do ask Emily you know, she does use a plastic spoon every day, but I tell her it doesn't have to go in the garbage. And I know it sounds silly, but you can reuse those things. I don't want to send a real spoon in because that will wind up in the garbage.
Right.
But, you know, there's times where you can reuse things, right? And that's a big thing in my own home is that you can reuse things. And, you know, and that's one of those things. It doesn't have to wind up in the garbage. And eliminating that kind of waste sometimes is, you know, just as important as picking it up and taking it off the table and throwing it where it belongs. You
are absolutely right.
So she used to make fun of me for it, but I would always say, well, Carol would be very proud. We use your name in our house a lot.
Oh my goodness, that's scary.
In all the best ways. No, in all the best ways. Yeah. We're using reusable water bottles. You know, just certain things that we are able to get more life out of. Yeah. You know, there's no reason to throw everything away that you have, and when it's end of life, it's end of life.
Yep.
But we're big on that. You know, seeing people throw stuff out their windows, Emily always has a difficult time with, right?
Yeah.
She wants to be an upstander in those situations, and she wants to start encouraging people to be upstanders in that. You know, don't throw you know, take your stuff home with you if you can't find a garbage can.
Exactly.
You know? There's one, like you said, on every corner here. There's all the parks are filled with garbage cans and recycle cans.
Right.
But people just they clearly don't see the garbage.
So maybe we need big giant signs, right?
Yeah. And bold.
What about there's an Adopt the Spot program. So like we have a group of girls from Seawarren who want to be a team to clean up spaces. I imagine you could adopt a spot as a family, a business, an individual. What do you think of that kind of a program?
That sounds nice.
You like it?
You'd love to be on that team, right? A team to help organize that,
right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. You're on it.
Yeah.
Yay.
I think it's great. I think
that as the spring comes, and we'll see how many teams we can get throughout the town. I mean, there's some spots that have more, like Seawarren, you walk down by the water and you go, oh my gosh, look at the slobs, people just throw things.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is a good part of that stuff, because like we said before, it goes in the waterways.
Yeah.
It comes up with the tide.
Yeah.
And ends up on the shore again.
Yeah,
and
the shore.
In and out, in and out.
There's like a boat that's like, I don't know if it's still there, and I see a lot of garbage. It's really bad, like the way that it looks, even though the view's pretty, like in Seawarren. You know, the only thing is the garbage just needs to be, you know, situated, and then, you know.
So that's any other areas of town where you say we should focus?
I think we should focus more on the like Main Street. You know, when there's like events and stuff like that, like like parades, there's usually leftovers, and the janitors work super hard to, you know, like get all that stuff like situated and cleaned up. But, you know, there should be people who are willing to like volunteer to help that person.
That's a good idea.
You know, because you don't want to, like, you know, just because it's their job doesn't mean that, you know.
It's everybody's job.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can just, like, throw things, like, onto the ground. Like, hey, you know, pick this up. Like, you know, you get a lot of money for this job. So, you know, I don't know. Like.
You know what? I don't think we're paying anybody in town to be
Yeah.
actually cleaning up after people.
Yeah.
People have to clean up after themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So, and that's the kind of, we have to get that message out there more. So.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, there needs to be, like, more assemblies, like, something that has, like, a meaning to it, that has, like, not just, like, you just, like, walk into the assembly, they talk about recycling or something like that. You know, they should be leaving with like, encouragement, you know, instead of just going back to class and saying, you know, this doesn't matter. Like, you know, it's just an event, you know. There should be, you know.
Well, certainly the school students are old enough and smart enough to understand it's not just about looking awful, which is partly that.
Right.
But it's about the dangers to the environment.
Yeah. And
Right, when the animals eat the garbage on the
waste.
ground.
Point.
you know.
That's something we talk about a lot, right? When we're on the beach and we see the seagulls come and pick up somebody's garbage, and it's just...
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's very toxic too.
Yes, absolutely. So, and we're going to be closing up here. Any other thoughts? Anything that...
I will say one thing, speaking of the schools, I know that there are some schools that have initiatives to for families to bring in their plastic containers. I was just with some principals. I went to an event at JFK, and there was a lot of administration there. And the principal at Mauby Street School, Ms. Zeitz.
They're getting the bottle caps.
Yes, bottles. I think she mentioned like entire bottles.
Oh, and they're also doing bottle caps.
Yes, I didn't realize it was a separate thing. She did say that. I was wanting to get in touch with her because all of a sudden now I have a big bag of bottles to drop off to her, and I'm making sure that they're not going in our recycling, but I'll bring them. She said they'll make a bench out of it. Yeah. And I know back when we had plastic bags, like the RISE program would collect the plastic bags, and they have a bench outside. It's not big, but man, did they collect a lot of plastic bags.
These are the bags from the newspapers and stuff?
Well, when we had grocery bags at the stores,
because
they would collect those.
The bags that when we used to get newspapers, that the newspapers come in, we have a box outside Town Hall by the elevator.
I did see that.
Yeah, and you put them in there, and we also got a bench from that too.
Yeah, right. I remember dropping off. I remember, you know, going to ShopRite, bringing my bags back there when, you know, when there was nowhere else to bring them, or there were just so many that I was embarrassed to just drop them off there. But I know that they reuse them. But RISE has, I believe, a bench that they had made out of those bags, and I think that's the goal for Mauby Street School. Right. So there's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot, if you know, it takes effort though. It's not the easy thing. The easy thing is to throw it away.
A program like that in an elementary school, aside from being educational, it involves the whole community.
Right.
I mean, we actually have a bucket upstairs in the mayor's office for people to throw in caps for Mauby Street School, and then he's going to take the bucket full of caps over to them. So everybody in Town Hall is participating in a Mauby School project.
I did learn from my sister-in-law a long time ago that the caps and the bottles are different.
Yep, you can't keep them together.
Right, and I didn't know that until she's very big into recycling, and so she, you know, was telling me, and ever since then I have separated them and recycled and thrown away. And I said, how is this not recyclable? But now I'm glad I know. But now I'm glad that I know that there's somewhere that I can bring them.
Yep.
Instead of putting them in.
A lot is going on in the schools.
Yeah.
So we're really,
these are just
lucky.
the things I know about, and I just really would love to know more from the schools. And I know that we've talked. I remember, you know, seeing that sustainable schools during school boards. That was it was very impressive, the list of schools that are sustainable in our town, in our state.
In our state.
Yeah, we had 2 pages of slides.
But Woodbridge Township as a whole got certified, and that was huge. Sustainable Jersey for schools is not easy, and you have to keep going over and over and over. And Mike Atsby and Mr. Short at Colonial Middle School, and Mr. Shanker, they were such strong advocates for this, and to be there at that luncheon.
That was amazing.
It was.
Yeah, Mr. Short got the big award, right?
Yep. With everybody there, it was just great, and got to do that again.
Yes, and I'm sure that they will. I remember when I first became a board member, I went to the Sustainable Schools school board meeting down in Trenton, and I walked in, they're like, oh, you're from Woodbridge? Do you know Carol? I'm like, of course I know Carol. Oh, and it was just all about, you know, all the things that you do and all the great things that you know, you bring, and it's you don't walk around with a crown on, Carol. You walk around, you know, looking down, making sure that, you know, we're you know, your head is to the ground, and you're quite amazing for this town, and we appreciate you. We appreciate that you helped Emily with her project, starting all the way back then, and the relationship that's been formed since then.
I so appreciate the passion that you had then and you have still.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. You talk, if we want to keep patting each other on the back,
Yeah.
I am so totally
I'll step
impressed. No. Emily, you are wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sure you're going to be a great success. High school's going to be good. And I'm looking forward. I know we're going to be in touch for a very long time. And this was a great discussion. Thank
really
you
was. Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, for inviting us. I really appreciate it.
It was
Me too.
a great show. Thank you for watching Greenable Woodbridge. Thank you for being part of the excitement and part of the change.